Hello, my name is Teresita Blanco, the Artsy sister, and today I wanted to tell you about two new sci-fi movies that I watched recently. The very first one in the shopping block that I wanted to mention is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Like Frankenstein is a story that's being done to death, and a lot of us forget that this is technically like a sci-fi story. I mean, it was pitched as a sci-fi story when it was written in like the 1960s, but like with today's technology, a lot of the weird science that is shown over there looks very retro. But I think Guillermo del Toro did a good job to in order to make like he went more hand with like explaining how like the so-called monster gets created. Cause like there's at least like half an hour was just showing all of him like talking about how the monster gets like reanimated and stuff. Like I don't want to go too much into like specific because I don't want to like spoil it. But then again, is it really spoiling the story if everyone already knows the story? They did change the ending from like the traditional book ending, but that was just as well because like at the time of during the time period when they were writing the Frankenstein story, it was very traditional for them to kill the main characters at the end in order to, and the reason why they did that is to make it sequel proof and also because of what happened to like Cervantes in specific, that when he wrote Don Quixote, then since he didn't kill his character in the end, and there wasn't good copyright laws over there, then people started writing a bunch of unauthorized sequels of Don Quixote. So then, in order to keep people from like stealing the character that he created, then Cervantes killed off his character in the end, and then eventually other writers started picking that up. So that's why the Frankenstein, the Phantom of the Opera, and a bunch of other people, at least in the book, they. Oh, also the guy from Wuthering Heights, Heathcliff, also drops dead in the end. Like it's actually very rare for you to run into a book written during the 1800s where the character doesn't like drop dead in the end. But that's not really that important. Like other than those two changes that Guillermo del Toro goes ham over explaining how the monster gets created, and it has like very nice gory effects, and the ending. The rest follows like, well, and there's also another change, but the rest follows like the story to a thief, but like while the book and it has kind of like a bit of a hopeful ending, that that the importance of value in life, because at least the creator of the stuff, the playwright, he took a familiar story in order to say a different point, and the overall point of it is that men with ambition are the ones that like ruin everything and create catastrophes and stuff. Like the first one is the guy that's on the ship. He's creating death and tragedy because he wants to be the first man to reach the North Pole. And since he wants to reach immortality in the sense of being remembered forever as being the guy that makes it to the North Pole, he's causing the death of all of his crewmates, and he might even die in the attempt, all because of the weird machismo need to like be the idiot to plant his flag on like the moon or a mountain or something, and if we want to be straight about it, who here reads history books this day? Who here cares about history? So I mean, at least in school, the way that I observed it was that the students would memorize what they needed to the exam, and then they would immediately forget it because learning about history is boring. Because it's not like cool sci-fi pew 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 nonsense. So then the people, like the people that like the big irony is that the people that were working very hard in order to be remembered forever by doing some great achievement, the irony of it all is that they're destined to be forgotten. And that's that's just the main point over there in the Frankenstein story of the terrible things that people with ambition do, or the things that or the monsters that they create just to show that they can. And even the main character, the Frankenstein, the not the monster, the human, he wanted to defeat death, but in his quest to defeat death, he created a man that yeah he does, yeah, he's like immune to death and all of that, but he creates death wherever he goes because of the looks that he has, and then like people be very stabby shooting, cause that's just a tradition of it. Like I could even imagine this character like showing up in like since he survived to like since he didn't croak at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert! But then again, it's a really spoiler if everyone knows the story. Spoiler. So then, since he made it to like the end and all of that, then you could even have him like show up in like a Hellboy, just have him make it to like a Hellboy movie and have him join the ragtag of idiots to do Hellboy stuff together, Cause like I'm still waiting for the Hellboy 3 made by like a real director or something. But whatever, that's not like important to like the nonsense and stuff. And also like the scenery of it was like very nice. I like the nice little flowing veils. And another good thing that's good about this movie is that it wasn't boring. Even when they were doing all of the science stuff, it was still very amusing to watch. And most importantly, even though both the monster and the creator have like a romantic interest, there wasn't any mating whatsoever, and that's my opinion of mating scenes in general. That they don't move the plot forward; they just there to like fill the runtime. And this movie didn't need to do that in order to make it to feature length, because every scene over there had a purpose for existing, and it wasn't there as fluff filler. Alright, and like the other sci-fi movie that I watched recently, um, it was Predator Badlands. Actually went with like my brother to the theater to actually go watch the silly Predator movie. Like you could almost look, since everyone's saying was like CGI and stuff, then it could almost be seen as a light bit of a cartoon even. But I don't mean it as in a bad way. I just thought that the fighting was like very amusing. And it takes place in the future, more like contemporaries of like it was also like a movie that had a lot of callbacks to like Alien versus Predator, but the alien wasn't the alien from the movie Aliens. And I'm glad that they're actually moving away from like the xenomorph as far as Alien versus Predator type of nonsense, because it's a huge wild, wild world, so you can literally have him hunt whatever you want. And the main alien that ends up being his target is like this one over here. Like it happens very early, so it's not like a huge spoiler. That ends up being part of the challenge of the hunt is that it has the Wolverine healing factor. So that's why I forgot what this guy's name, Dirk or something. It was one of those names that just didn't quite stick in my brain. And like the reason why nobody have been able to hunt that thing down is because he had like the Wolverine healing factor. And this Predator movie kind of like explains, I guess it helps you understand a little bit the comic book of Wolverine versus Predator, because once a Predator picks a target, they're not able to return home until they conclude the hunt. So when the predator shows Wolverine of all people as his target, then he wasn't able to go home until he finally until he wasted Wolverine, and that's why he got stuck by the same predator for like almost an entire century. Cause that's just predator rules nonsense, etc., etc. And then yeah. And also like the closest thing you get to a human in like the Predator Badlands is like the little it's like the Wailing Yutani robot people. And like the one that ends up being his silly backpack sidekick is like it seems like they put her like in Shadowbox setting, or maybe her artificial intelligence is like the root of it is probably like a snapshot or a Shadowbox or something, because like she spent ChatGPT, yeah, that she spent like half the movie like running her mouth, and then like since they now gave her a universal translator, and then the predator be like, oh gosh, shut the hell up. Well, they don't. He didn't say got it, because they haven't given the like they overdeveloped their culture and their hunting and nothing, but they haven't given predators a religion yet. But it isn't necessary. Well, the more ancestor related. We do things because of our ancestors and our ancestors' ancestors, and based on the little lore from the beginning, you can tell that the predator society has been stagnant because they do things because the way of their forefathers and their forefathers' father, and society overall needs to evolve and change, because to adapt to the changing circumstances all around them. Maybe introduce a little bit of mercantilism here and there, because like the wailing Yutani people are like slowly catching up with like the predator technology. And since it was established very early that the predators they tend to call those who they perceive as weak. So obviously they're murdering all of the brainiacs of their society, because since they're weak, they don't see a use for them. But if they're not hunting, they could be used as scientists, like in order to further develop their technology, because that's the thing with like human society as a whole, that we have a lot of diversification of assets. Not everyone's like a psychopath gun ho warrior, but that's over speculation on the predator nonsense, and at the end of the day, it's just a fictional alien, and you can do with a predator people whatever the hell, whatever you want, and that's just the fun of it behind it. And yeah, like as far as action, it had like a lot of cool action set pieces, and the main guys introduce us like the runt of the letter, but I would also include that he's also the idiot of the family, because as soon as he lands in the planet, he gets like distracted, and then he ends up losing most of his gear. And they do also a little callback to Dutch from like the first Predator movie, because since they steal most of his technology, he ends up having to rely on like the wildlife and like the stuff that he finds on his planet in order to gear up. So they do a callback to that. And they also do a callback to like the Dark Predator with when she among her long list of rants, the blonde chick she mentioned, well, the brown robot chick, she mentions that in planet Earth that they have a wolf, and then like she tells them that the alpha of the wolf is the one that protects the most, and then he starts liking the idea of and the name of wolf, and then yeah, and then you will see that maybe they're doing a weird origin story of like the wolf predator character, but that doesn't make any sense, because like if I remember correctly, the Wolf is from a Predator movie that happens in like the modern day. So, but this one takes place in the far, 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 far distant future. And even this yellow robot over here you see in the poster, like it seems like a more Gigantamax, more upgraded version of the robot that Ripley used to feed the alien in the second part of the Aliens. So there's a lot of like callbacks to like the movie Alien also, but without actually using the xenomorph, which is like amusing as all that. So yeah, few. Oh yeah, like that's another joke that they did. Like you know how they do always fool around with like little skulls in early in the beginning of the movie, or you may have seen it in the trailer. One of the trophies that they have over there is a T-Rex skull. So that's a lot. So then that's a lot of fun that the predators went to Jurassic Park in order to like hunt T-Rexes. And you could even have T-Rexes in the Alien universe, just the same way that they brought back the xenomorph from the brink of extinction, with the way that they use magic clone technology to bring back Ripley. They could definitely do Aliens Jurassic Park, and you could even crossbreed a xenomorph with a T-Rex just for giggles. And only just to have, I mean, they're already like doing weird hybrids anyway, throwing the traditional dinosaurs out the window. So why not in Alien Earth crossbreed a xenomorph with like T-Rex and Velociraptor DNA just to make it very amusing, Is there anything else that I'm missing? Oh yeah. The Predator spends like 80% of the movie on math, but I think they do that in order to like in order to what you might call it, to humanize the alien creature, because to so you can see his expressions, and he spends like half the movie with the face of somebody that's like freaking out all of the time. But as they say, what is how I say, being afraid makes you keeps you from making from taking stupid risks. And since he's like freaking out most of the time because of the weird, because of all of the dangerous area that he ended up landing upon, then he makes it to like the end of the movie. Well, makes it as in, cause then they throw more as a sequel, but they throw in more scenes for him to shut down at the end of the film. That's the thing with also like the movie poster over there, like it exposed a lot of the scenes in the movie, etc. Yeah, and even over here, like you see that the giant mech is pointing a red laser beam and stuff, but no. Among the things that he loses track of is the infamous Predator shoulder cannon. So it's actually the wailing Yutani people who ends up with like most of his gear loose. So then they're using his technology against him. So, but every people love an underdog story and like having to improvise with like nature and stuff. But yeah, I think I ranted enough about the Predator movie without spoiling anything about it. And also, weirdly enough, both movies are about like a kid, about somebody's child or creation, like being angry at their creator. Like, Frankenstein monster has daddy issues, and even Frankenstein himself has daddy issues. And this predator also has issues with his own dad, which is gonna become pretty obvious in like the first why he hates his dad in the first 10 minutes of like the movie. So it's not as if I'm like spoiling any serious plot points, but whatever. I hope you find this short rant amusing. Bye bye and God bless.